What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to my channel. See, I got a little small sports channel, and everybody in the sports world today is discussing Antonio Touchdown Brown. That's not his real name. That's his daddy nickname, but whatever. So it just so happens that I live here in Tampa, and so I've been hearing stuff since Monday. Obviously, people that's in the city live and work there. So after Monday, Monday evenings, stories and stuff, everybody already had their stories of what happened, because of course here in Tampa, everybody want to know what the hell happened, just like anywhere else. But here we can kind of get answers if we know somebody who sweeping up popcorn at the stadium or whatever. So Monday afternoon, the city kind of had its own answer for what happened. And I just didn't decide to make a video because I didn't think nothing of it. But now that 3 days have passed and the national media is just now reporting stuff that we heard Monday, I felt like I should make a video and drop some gems or a little more information that y'all didn't know. Okay, so the first thing I want to point out is that this did not start on the sideline. Shout out to Shannon Sharp. There was a contract dispute, which is kind of hard to do when you have a one-year deal, but we're talking about Antonio Brown here. And also, Antonio Brown, these are Antonio Brown's words. Let me clarify that. A source close to Antonio Brown relayed this to Rick Stroud, who's been working for the Tampa Bay newspaper for like 30 years. So Rick Stroud reported, somebody in Antonio camp said, Antonio Brown said since he came back from suspension, he doesn't feel the love. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I can totally see AB saying that because it's so aloof. You don't know what the fuck it means, and this is something that somebody who gets in their feelings about a lot of stuff would say. When you get in your feelings all the time, a lot of times you don't have a right to be in your feelings or a right to be mad at somebody. So you say vague stuff to explain the way you're feeling. So before the game Sunday, Antonio Brown had a contract dispute, and he let it be known that he didn't feel the love since he returned from his suspension. Now let me jump into these two things. I didn't hear this one reported by national media too much yet, but today I did hear on ESPN Adam Schefter talk about the contract dispute. Okay, so what the contract dispute is, after the suspension, let me rephrase that. After the Chris Godwin injury, he came with his agent, I think it's been like 2 weeks ago now, came with his agent asking that the Bucs guarantee the final $2 million on his contract. The Bucs said no, kick rocks, you know what I'm saying? So now when he's walking around talking about he don't feel the love there, don't feel the same no more, he could be pointing to the fact that they didn't even want to discuss it with him, you know what I'm saying? So he could be speaking on that, but he also could be talking about the fact that he don't like the way the Buccaneers themselves handled his suspension. The entire suspension, all the way up until he was coming back, Bruce Arians was letting it be known, we don't know whether we're going to keep him or not. We don't know whether we're going to keep him or not. And another thing is the Bucs forced Antonio Brown to pay the cook who ratted on him. He had to pay the cook. The cook who let the cat out the bag that he had a fake vaccination card. The part of the Bucs keeping him and bringing him back was, hey, you got to go settle that with that man. And shout out to the Bucs for that, because listen, if you're a chef, most likely you're not a millionaire. And then if you're being a live-in chef cooking somebody 3 meals a day for however long, that means you have no other opportunities to really go make your own money. So this man, I don't know how many weeks or how many months he did this for Antonio Brown, but it wasn't like a one-day thing. It was like, you cooking me 3 meals a day for an extended period of time, to the point where Antonio Brown owed him like somewhere in the 5 figures. I think it was somewhere around 10 grand. I don't know what it was. And Antonio didn't want to pay him. The Bucs made Antonio Brown pay him. Good for the Bucs. That's a small businessman who you literally took all his time. So he had no other way to make money. So Antonio Brown really went into the game Sunday really in his feelings. And I don't think the national media had no clue about that. Even after, when he came back last week and he had the 10 catches and they proceeded to ask him about the vaccine, he got a little attitude and people just thought he was, snapping at a reporter or being snappy. No, he was really angry and disgruntled with the Buccaneers organization, and it spilled off into the press conference, right? So, all right, what we got next? All right, so fast forward, Antonio Brown releases his statement, very well written. People are busy joking that he didn't write it. It's so well written and he explains himself, and it sounds very, very believable. In fact, the only reason I don't believe it is for one or two reasons. Like I said, either they got together with the entire locker room and entire coaching staff and said, hey, you guys, we finna pass off a lie on Antonio Brown. And that's, that's a bit much. You don't have to do that to Antonio Brown. He's in trouble every other week. If you don't want him on your team, just cut him. You don't need to get 52 players and 10, 11, 12 position coaches together and sit down and coach them on a lie to make sure y'all get this. There's no need for that. He's always in trouble. He just stormed off the field. There's no need to do any of that. You can just cut him, all right? And the second reason why I don't believe it is because it's Antonio Brown, his history. He hasn't earned the benefit of a doubt. I would just like to clarify that just because I don't believe Antonio Brown because of his history doesn't mean what he says isn't true. It's possible that it happened the way he said it. I'm just explaining why I don't believe his version of events, all right? So though that happened, he released what he said happened. The first red flag, I wish I had the letter in front of me because there was a couple red flags that if you're not thinking critically or if you're looking to be on Antonio Brown's side, you're not going to look at what he's saying and realize that it doesn't make much sense. In the same paragraph, he says that the Bucs injected him with a powerful painkiller that's so powerful he had to describe it as sometimes dangerous, right? He's been injected with a powerful painkiller, and he didn't even know what they were injecting him with. He says this in the letter. 2 sentences later, he says, the pain was extremely high, and that's why I couldn't play, and they was trying to force me to play. Now, before you get in the comments and rip me up, both things can be true. He could have got injected with a very powerful painkiller, and a couple hours later, he could have been in so much pain that he really couldn't play. That is true, but again, I'm just saying, kind of raises an eye. It kind of sounds like, when somebody's telling their side of the story and they're like minimizing what they did and maximizing what everybody else in the story did. That's what this sounds like. For you to say, I got shot up with a powerful and dangerous painkiller. And in the same letter, I was I was in extreme pain. I have a very high pain tolerance and I was in extreme pain and I could not play. It doesn't fly with me. Doesn't mean it's not true. Another thing is he had a big play. He had a big play where he running full speed and he stopped so fast that the Jets defender that's covering him literally backs out of the view of the camera. Like they're running together on camera. He stops. Oh, I'm about to fall. You can't even see me no more. He turns around and catches the ball. Ankle looked fine. Obviously, he has an ankle injury. But when you're talking about an ankle injury being too severe and too painful for you to play, I should see you walking with a limp or something. I should see you walking a little stiff or something. Antonio Brown looked at completely, I won't say completely fine. Antonio Brown looked at serviceable. It's week 17 in the NFL. You get paid millions and millions of dollars to fight through this, all right? You signed up for it. This isn't, I don't feel sorry for you because you had to play through an injury. I would also like to point out that no other NFL team will. He keeps talking about being 100% for next year. I don't know if he realized what he did today is probably even worse than walking off the field Sunday. Because even if he's telling the truth, what you're doing is exposing the NFL's culture. Yes, we pressure you guys to play. That's why we pay you millions and millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? It's not right. You know what I'm saying? It happens. But Antonio Brown thinking he's vindicating his name, clearing his name, basically just put a spotlight on the entire NFL. You're talking about a culture of players, because when people see that, they're saying, when you go look at the comments under Antonio Brown's letter, people are saying, darn, they do them guys like that. They forced them guys to play. Like, they're not saying, oh, wow, what a sad, isolated incident that happened to Antonio Brown. They're immediately jumping to the culture of the NFL. So the NFL is going to have to clear his name, and no GM or coach is going to want a guy who may go to the media and say, hey, I'm hurt right now and they want me to play. That's literally probably every guy on the roster. They want you to play through injury. You know what I'm saying? So no coach or no team is going to want that. And also, like I said, it's a bit disingenuous what he did today. Bruce Arians didn't act like he didn't know you were injured at all. He never did that. What he said was he didn't know that the injury was the reason why you refused to go back in the game. And everybody can see that. I get social media can't. Social media like, oh, he right. Y'all owe him an apology. But anybody in the NFL, from players to coaches to GMs, anybody can see that, bro. Of course the Bucs know you're injured, nigga. You on the injury report. You know what I'm saying? So that's a bad look, and I think that compounds teams. Yeah, this guy just walked off and quit on this team. I don't know if we won. What? What did he do today? Can't mess with him. I think he thinks he made himself look good, but he made himself look bad where it counts. You look good on social media, but you look bad where it counts. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically Antonio's version of events. I already kind of I don't want to say I discredited it, but I was just trying to tell you guys why his version of events don't fully make sense to me. Now, the Bucs version of events is he, during the game, was mad about targets. Now, this is the story that was swirling around the city of Tampa Monday. According to the rumors, which now kind of seem, well, the Bucs are at least validating, doesn't mean it's true. According to the rumors, he was mad that Gronkowski was getting more targets than him. And, you know, around the city, when you hear that, of course, you go look up the stats. So in the first half, Gronk had 6 targets. I think he caught 5 balls for 80 yards. That's what Gronk had. That was his target and shit in the first half. The problem with this story is when we look at the first half, AB had 5 targets. So he was the second most targeted player on the team and what is only one half of football. So that would equal out to, I feel like I'm doing math, like I'm in school again. Let me use a big word. That would extrapolate to 10 touchdowns. I'm sorry, 10 targets over the course of a full game. Name me an NFL receiver if you guarantee them before, hey, I'm going to guarantee you 10 targets before the game. You think they're going to say, no, I can possibly get more? 10 targets is a high amount of targets. You know what I'm talking about? For a football game. So initially when this rumor went out, I discounted it. I was like, that don't even make no sense. He's not mad about targets. I do believe he's mad about something that happened, but it's not about targets. But it's coming out that he was mad at Gronkowski about targets. Now, the Bucs didn't say he was mad at Gronkowski, but they did mention he was mad at targets. But what Bruce Arians did say was he was mad about who was getting targets. So that's when I said, oh, damn, so the rumor must really be true. He was mad that Gronkowski got one more target than him in the time that they were on the field together, all right? And to be fair to Antonio, there's different things. Like the 5 targets could have came when on a bad play, he wasn't open, Tom was trying to get rid of the ball, and there could have been 5, 6, 7, 8 other plays where he was wide open wanting the ball. So he could be angry about that, but they're saying the word targets, and you know, the targets was there. The targets was there for him. But this is the version of events I believe because I already knew the backstory, that he tried to get his contract guaranteed and they said no. And I also knew that he had expressed that the energy didn't feel the same since he returned from his suspension. So to me, knowing Antonio Brown's history, he's going to find something to be mad about because he couldn't get his way. So even though it didn't add up that he's not getting targeted enough, I just said that sounds like Antonio Brown. He's mad and he's trying to find his way to express that anger. And I think that's really what happened Sunday. He was mad about this contract situation. He was mad and felt like the Bucs didn't have his back over the vaccination, the fake vaccination card, and he don't like the way they handled it. So he was just going to be disgruntled. And that's why that press conference went the way it did last week. He was very disgruntled. It had nothing to do with the reporter or the actual question. She could have asked him his favorite color. He probably would have replied with the same energy. You know what I'm saying? I also believe that there is tension between AB and BA. So I believe that they honestly don't like each other. I believe Bruce Arians never wanted him. So we have to keep in mind the fact that Bruce Arians may have done some of the things Antonio Brown said, or Bruce Arians knows Antonio Brown so well, he may have goaded Antonio Brown into getting rid of himself. Because I don't think, well, we know for a fact he never wanted to sign him. He said, I don't want him here. I had him his rookie year. He don't fit in our locker room. Tom Brady said, I need him. After this suspension, I don't believe Bruce Arians wanted him back. I don't know that, but I don't believe Bruce Arians wanted him back. You feel me? He was forced to bring him back, right? Because, you know, maybe because of Tom and somebody else in the building and also Godwin's injury. But Bruce Arians didn't want him back. And when a coach doesn't want a player, we see it all the time when the owner makes a coach draft a quarterback he doesn't want. Yeah, the coach gonna coach him and try to win, but he's not gonna help you stay out of trouble. And then you look at, I would say, the Vince Young situation. Jeff Fisher kind of gaslighted him and helped and reported stuff or told stuff to his reporter buddies in Tennessee and helped Vince Young help himself look bad. So Bruce Arians could have did something like that, but we don't know. I'm just saying, we have to remember that there's this energy here that these two guys don't really mess with each other. And if you look at what Antonio Brown's been doing, he's kind of been clear to thank the Buccaneers. He's been clear to say, I love the players, I love the fellas. You know what I'm saying? All this energy is directed towards Bruce Arians, and it's possible that Bruce Arians didn't want him back after that suspension, and he was looking for a reason to tell Antonio Brown to kick rocks, and he either goaded Antonio Brown into doing something, or he just waited at his first opportunity of Antonio Brown doing something and said, get your ass out of here, bro. You know what I'm saying? But that's pretty much the gist of everything.